And honestly, like the thing about jiu-jitsu is when someone's trying to choke you out, like all your problems go away, other than that person's trying to choke me out. And so from a stress perspective, it was almost like therapy. It's, like non-consensual yoga.
That's the best description of jiu-jitsu I've ever heard.
It's like folding clothes while people are still in them. There's a bunch of there's a lot of
yoga.
Yes, you like yoga? All right.
Cheers.
Lots of names for jiu-jitsu. There's also Mexican ground karate. I'm not sure where that one came from, but
Chance, admittedly, everything that I know about jiu-jitsu is just because I'm a disciple of Rogan, you know what I mean? And he's always talking about it.
Honestly, I feel like probably about a quarter of the people that train jiu-jitsu now, probably because of him.
Probably,
because
man.
he's always promoting it.
Right. But he was even saying, like, talking to Dave Portnoy from Barstool or whatever last week, and was talking about how, like, he thought he was, or, Rogan thought he knew his stuff with, like, was training in Muay Thai or Thai fighting at the time. And then when he started doing jiu-jitsu for the first time, it was, like, revolutionary. And that's really, like, that's kind of the centerpiece to all these martial arts at this point, right?
Yeah, I started jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai at the same time. I was better at Muay Thai. I'm built for Muay Thai, right? Tall, thin, have more reach than most people in my weight class.
Yeah.
I don't like getting hit in the face. And I like the technical aspects of jiu-jitsu. It's like a flow chart. It's like engineering your way out of body problems, Like my arm's here, this arm's here, my leg's there. I need to get to this position. How do I get to that position so then I can set up an attack? And I've never been good at sports. Like, I was slightly better than average at baseball, but I played baseball a lot. I was all tall, gangly, not coordinated. So jiu-jitsu is one of the things where it's like, it's not really about my natural athletic ability. I can do well just getting good at the techniques. And I still don't think I don't consider myself good at it. I mean, yeah, if a random person that doesn't train, sure, great. But I'm always training with people that are way better than me. So it doesn't really let your ego inflate too much. And that's what's great about it is people will come into the gym. If they have an ego, they'll get tapped by someone 50 pounds lighter than them. Either they lose the ego or they leave the gym.
Right.
Like one of those two things is going to happen at a good jiu-jitsu gym. So.
Yeah, man. I love like the whole mind-body connection. I like nerd out over that whole thing. I mean, Matt and I played basketball one day a couple weeks ago, and I feel like we're closer because of it. Closer.
I'm still a little bitter.
How many elbows did you throw?
Yeah, I know that's my problem is I can't keep my elbows down.
And so this whole jiu-jitsu thing led to what I'm doing now. I took two of my favorite passions and games, jiu-jitsu, combined them into one. So I grew up playing a lot of Tycoon games, Roller Coaster Tycoon, even stuff similar like SimCity. I've always been into simulation games where you have all these systems that are engineered and they're interacting to play out a story rather than a scripted story. Because to me, the most interesting games are where you see something that wasn't written, it wasn't scripted to happen, but because there's so much really well-made game systems, they just kind of interact and they play out. The ultimate version of this would be Dwarf Fortress, which was just released after 20 years, finally with graphics. So, yeah. But anyway, so I played a lot of those games, versus shooters. And, training jiu-jitsu, I was like, every fighting game is about the button mashing. It's about you doing the fighting. But there's so many fight fans out there, right? There's so many fight fans, and they're not just they don't just watch the fights. They're interested in, like, what gyms are they training at, like, everything behind the scenes. And so when you spend a lot of time on the match, you're like, this would actually make a really good, like, Tycoon simulation game. You're deciding, how to upgrade your gym. You're dealing with different personalities. You've got these random NPCs that come in that, like every character is procedurally made, right? So every character basically has a personality and a life history, and every character is unique. So you might have someone that came in, and their life history is they were like an abused kid, right? And because they're an abused kid, they have a higher percentage chance of having, for instance, a resilience trait, some kind of trait that makes them more resilient to fighting because they went through a bunch of crap as a kid, right? Or, for instance, you have someone that comes in that has high strength, high agility, they're very athletic, but they have the bully trait. Well, this person might come in and win some fights and get some money for your gym, But if people are getting injured because you let this very athletic bully into your gym, maybe that's not a good idea, right? And so you're basically managing the fighters that are coming through. You're upgrading the equipment. You're starting off in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro. When I was in Brazil, I lived 2 streets from this favela, Morro Santo Amaro, and it's one of the, I guess you'd say, more pacified favelas in Brazil. I wouldn't recommend you just walking in there or anything. It's a bad idea. But you're not necessarily going to be greeted with people with, AKs or something when you get there. And so some of my, a couple of my best friends were from that favela, my best friends in Rio. And so something that I, realized, like when we see movies, Call of Duty is guilty of this, games, every time you see the favelas, whether it's City of God or Modern Warfare 2, it's all about the police and the bad guys shooting each other, the drugs, and those are very real things. But people don't realize that most of the people in there are just good people trying to get by. Just like any other poor area. You go to any ghetto in America, and most people are just trying to make it, right? And there's definitely a higher percentage of people doing bad things, but it's still a minority of the people within that area.
Right.
And so one of the things I want to make sure that we're trying to do with this game, or we are doing with this game, is to represent, the people from the favela as not just all drug dealers, all, involved in crime, that there's like regular families there just trying to make it happen, right?